First of all, thank you for listening. I really mean it. And thank you for telling your friends about this podcast series. Someone was asking me how I find the women we profile on the show, and the answer is they are not hard to find. They're your mother, your sister, your neighbor, your coworker, your best friend, and they have a lot in common. They're all doing great things with their lives, not just for themselves, but for others. They are exceptional. Today's story is about two sisters who idolized their grandmother, and they learned so much from her about fashion and style and grace and artistic vision. They created a fashionable jewelry and accessories company with a boutique feel, and they named it after her, Isabel Harvey. Alexis and Kimberly Kissam, welcome to the story behind her success.
Thank you for having us,
Yes,
Candy.
thank
This
you.
is a real honor to be here
It's
today.
so nice to have you guys in the studio. I've been to your store. Can't wait to talk about it. But let's jump into Candy-O's lightning round. We're going to do 5 questions, your 5 short answers. You can fight over who's going to answer if you want to. It's quick and easy, and it's a way for our listeners to get to know you. Is your phone attached to you at all times, or is it stuffed in your purse?
Stuffed in my purse.
Attached.
Holiday you look forward to the most?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
All right, ditto that. Okay, there's an old worn-out T-shirt in your drawer, and it says...
It says Nantucket on it.
Absolutely. Nantucket. Yes, I actually have more than just one. I have a stack.
A piece of jewelry you could never part with.
Oh,
pair
God,
of-
all of it.
Hoop earrings for me.
Hoop earrings. Yeah, hoop earrings.
Do you have a mantra or a favorite expression? Something you live by?
Good question. And I would have to say, be kind.
Um,
I'm going to answer for my sister, Alexis. Be sparkly.
oh, yes. Be sparkly, of course. Yes, our tagline. We live by it.
There's a
Inside
gl-
and out.
There's a cool glimpse inside your personality. So let's dive into the rest of the story. You have 2 stores, both in Massachusetts, Wellesley and Nantucket. Take our listeners for a virtual walk through your store. Describe what you sell and this cool boutique vibe that you've established.
Well, we've created a store that we hope is very open and friendly and warm. We tried to create a beach feeling and theme to it so that most of it is, whitewashed floor and white walls, but with sparkly jewelry and colorful pieces and really interesting home goods and gift items, bright colored scarves. It really is a place that we want people to feel like they're walking into a ray of sunshine.
And one of the things that's so important for Alexis and I is that when we walk into the store, we want to feel sparkly and we want to feel warm and we want to make sure there's something for everyone there. So if you like big earrings, small earrings, cashmere, cottons, expensive jewelry, inexpensive jewelry, we want to make sure that we can offer that to our customers that come in.
You know, I love this sparkle and shine idea that you're talking about, and I know it's part of your tagline. I have a sign in my office that says, don't ever let anyone take your sparkle away. I should bring it to you guys so you can put it
Yes.
on your wall. So let's talk a little bit about the fact that you grew up in Wellesley, and that's where your store is. You were established there in 2005. Take us back to that day when you opened up the doors of your Wellesley store.
Well, it was a long road to that.
Mhm.
Alexis and I were both in corporate America for years, and we were at least at my mother's house for dinner probably that night. And Alexis said, I think I want to quit my job and start something else. And I said, well, whatever you do, just count me in. I'm just in. I'm in no matter what. She said, how about I start a skirt company? I like skirts. I wear them and I'm going to learn how to sew. I said, great.
And let's just say my mother is one of these mothers who, if I saw a skirt somewhere, might say, oh, you can make that. Oh, you can do that. Whatever it is, we could do it. And I'm not sure if she just didn't want to buy it for me or if she really believed that I could possibly make a skirt or make whatever it is that I was interested in.
You know what it sounds like to me is that she was empowering you from the time you
Yes.
were young girls.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Mm-hmm. Always,
Yes.
always.
There was a lot of that. And I'm going to bring up the story. You know, our father passed away when we were young. We were probably 4 and 10 suddenly. And our mother was a young mother at the time, and she had these 3 daughters to raise. And she, I think, felt very unprepared. And I think that was one of our earliest lessons. And she prepared herself. From that moment on, she studied, she read, if she didn't know how to do something, she read about it, she looked it up, she researched it, and she encouraged us to do the same. So I think growing up, we saw that part of her that was very independent, that was very knowledge seeking. And, it showed us sort of how the world should be. We didn't rely on somebody else or something else.
How to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yep.
That was right. And so when we came to the kitchen table with this idea, it was really Alexis's idea. I really just rode her coattails.
For the nanosecond until it became both of us.
And then it was a lot of hard work right up until the day. And so we said, hey, Mom, listen, this is what we're thinking. We're going to leave corporate America during, 2009, when the world was crashing around us. And she said, okay, let's talk about it. So we really went through the pros and the cons and what's the worst that could happen, what's the best that could happen. We couldn't imagine the best because it just was unbelievable.
It was a tough time in the United States. 2008, 2009. I mean, people are not even looking at their 401ks because they've lost everything overnight practically, right?
Right.
So we tried to be very strategic about it. And so what was nice, the one nice thing that came out of it is that because so many businesses were going out of business, because people were trying to sell their merchandise because they couldn't sell it because people were not buying.
Every third retail space was vacant, maybe every other. There were loads of opportunities in that way that we had sort of our pick of the litter when it came to real estate.
And people took a chance on us. They never would have taken a chance on us if it wasn't for this recession. So
even finding a retail space, people wouldn't do a month to month. They would make you sign a 10-year lease. You'd be committed. You'd have to throw all this money down. We did a month to month. They did the renovations. That doesn't happen. They wanted to fill the spaces. That's what they wanted. And we wanted to have a chance to start a store, and we didn't want to go all in necessarily.
You named your line of jewelry after your grandmother, Isabel Harvey. And I'm really curious to know more about her because I'm already intrigued by your mom. Can you describe her to us? And did she have a career in fashion?
A good question.
She probably could have.
She probably, yes. Well, she was also another strong female influence in our lives. She was, the grandmother of 3 grandchildren, and then my cousin, who was also a little baby girl. And she made sure that we knew our manners. She was very strict with us. That we knew the manners. That we took the steps to be outgoing and shake people's hands, and you don't have to be shy. She gave us a lot of good confidence and lessons in kind of how to, be strong.
Yeah. And she was certainly beautiful on the outside, but she also had that the very proud confidence, and she wore the beautiful ruffle on the shirt and the earrings and the hat and everything, and she had a great presence. And it was, something we grew up with. So,
it's interesting because my mom was a buyer for Lord & Taylor and Saks Fifth Avenue. And she, she was raised in New York City, and she would never walk down Park Avenue or Fifth Avenue without her gloves on. And she was very much like you've just described, where, you should be able to have a conversation and answer questions if you're asked, and know how to shake somebody's hand and what's proper to wear at a certain time of the day. But there's also a little bit of a burden with that when you're a child. It's like, oh my God, can't I just be me, right?
Right.
But our grandparents have such an effect on us. And it's a different relationship, isn't it, from our parents, because they swoop in and then they swoop out, right? So what was it like when she was around?
Well, she spoiled us. I remember her giving us lots of candy. I remember having candy. And she used to make the best butter and toast with sprinkled sugar on it. Oh my God,
yeah. You remember that like it was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
You got that faraway look in your eye, Kimberly, when you were talking. What was her lesson to you both, though, as you think back on it? And I know you've tried to integrate so much of her personality into what you do. She taught us that every woman should express her own style through beautiful, fun, and unique accessories. What did she teach you?
I think part of it, outside of the details of fashion, it was this dream big, it was kind of this, do what your heart is telling you to do. Don't be afraid. Be confident. It's like the shake the hand and look them in the eye,
Right.
and feel confident about what you're doing. I think
Even if you don't feel confident, just fake it a little bit, and then maybe your confidence will catch up.
And put
to
your
you.
best foot forward,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Did she ever get a chance to see your stores?
she did not.
No, she didn't.
What would she say right now?
Oh, she'd be
Oh,
very, very, very happy.
Very happy, very proud.
Very proud. As a matter of fact, the sales team at the store, if anything wonky happens, like the lights flicker or something falls off the shelf, the staff always says, "Oh, that's Isabel Harvey. She's here right now. She's here with us."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my gosh, how?"
That's cool.
It is
I
cool.
also read that your grandmother had an intuition about what worked and what didn't. You call this style intuition, and I wonder if you can explain that.
So, it's funny. It's like with our customers that come in, we'll always, if they're looking for they have a dress and they want to dress it with jewelry or wraps or cashmere. It's not so much of what looks good, because lots of things look good. It's that feeling that you get when you put something on. It's that inner feeling that makes everything look good, even if it just feels good, then it's going to look
Right.
good. And
how does
that's
it make you feel? Kind of is like a big part of that. When we're trying to figure out what feels good on us, what feels good on a customer.
Yeah.
It's the feeling you get.
So we always, yes, blue would look beautiful on you. How does that feel? How does that make you feel? Alexis and I are so good at, we don't ever want anyone to leave the store not feeling good, or feeling like, oh, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Only if it makes you feel good, then that's what you should do.
And that good feeling also goes from like how people look all the way to how their experience was, Did they have a nice time? Did they have a nice interaction? Did they like the display? We want everybody to feel better when they leave than when they came in.
I've always wanted to ask this question, and as creators and retailers, I think you guys are the perfect two to ask. Do you observe a person's mannerisms, body language, sort of the way they walk through your store so that you can kind of tell how engaged they are and what this is going to feel like when you do talk to them?
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell a lot about someone's mood or interest or personality just by the way that they walk, by the pace. But, are they on a mission? Sometimes people walk in really fast and they need to find what they're looking for, and they're quick and they want to get out of there. Some people want to try everything on. They want to have a good time. They want an experience. They don't, they're not there just to pick something up. They're looking for the experience. And so we try to read people as best we can and give them what they want.
So I'm looking at the list. I see necklaces and earrings and bracelets and rings. I see handbags. I see all sorts of accessories. I remember when I was in the store, you had these beautiful, brightly colored wraps, which you guys are wearing right now. This cashmere is just gorgeous. And I know my daughter remember she bought that fuchsia one?
Yes.
And as soon as she put it on, she was like, oh, this is what I want, right? It was just amazing.
Yeah.
Why Nantucket as your second location? It's not easy to have, first of all, it's a magical island, but it ain't easy to get from Wellesley to Nantucket and run a store. Tell me about that.
Well, actually, Nantucket was our first store, and it just happened that we were testing the waters. So we went from doing church rummage sales to a half a store in Nantucket, and we had a friend who wanted to rent out half of her store. So we said, let's do it. Let's just try it. Let's just bite the bullet and let's go for it.
And it wasn't a big commitment because, again, we're talking a seasonal store. We were going to give our 3 months to it. We're going to, whatever the stuff we were carrying around in suitcases to the church rummage sale, we were going to now put in a store. So it felt like an easy commitment. It was a baby step. And we could test the water, see how it went, and, riff on from there.
Yeah. And it's not easy. Nantucket is the dream island. But when you work there, it is not a dream. Actually is very difficult.
There are so many. Running a store is hard enough. Running a store in a seasonal place that's not easy to get to, that you have to rehire every year, you have to retrain every year, you re-merchandise, you bring all new merchandise in, you take it all out, you get it on the boat. You have to get housing. there I could go on.
Yeah.
And it's this very much love-hate with Nantucket because we do love the island. We love the shops there. We love the people there. It's a beautiful place. And I know that our customers feel that way too. It is tricky to have a business there. Even after 11 seasons, it hasn't seemed to be predictable, at least. It hasn't gotten necessary. Some years are easier than others, but predictability doesn't seem to exist.
You know, you were talking about the hard stuff. And that leads me to my next question, which has to do with entrepreneurship. You know, it takes a special kind of person to be an entrepreneur. How do you describe it? What's been the hardest part of entrepreneurship?
Well, I'll tell you, it isn't easy. And I think about when we first started and how green we were and how much we've grown as saleswomen, as businesswomen, as customer service relationship. I mean, you know, we do everything that involves the brick and mortar store and our online store. And you don't sleep. You don't sleep.
You both look pretty good for people who don't sleep, I have to tell you.
And you worry. At least I do. I worry a lot. And then I worry, and then I call my sister Alexis and explain my worry to her. And then we talk it out. We have a relationship that is hashing out everything. And when Alexis is maybe high energy, I can be low, and vice versa. So we feed off of each other. And
we help lift the other one up if there's a down, you know?
For sure.
You know,
we can talk out our problems and our situations really nicely.
Because at the end of the day, we need to resolve the problems and resolve them quickly. If we see something going in the wrong direction, we need to correct it. And I'd say even when things are going really well, we're also worried because how do we maintain this? How do we sustain it? How do we stay current and relevant? And what is the new trend, or what is the new way of marketing even? You know, is it social media? Is it email? Do we put an ad in a newspaper? You know, how do we get people's attention? And I think to the question of what is a big challenge, I think one of the things that we struggle with a lot is expansion. We have wanted to expand. We look at leases. We have them in our hands. We map out where the register is going to be and how and then we back out. And I think part of it is how do we maintain the level of customer service of what Isabel Harvey means? How do we maintain that with store 3, 4, 5, 6, 10? You know, we don't want to give anybody a diet version of Isabel Harvey because that's, I think, what makes us successful, because we're so close to the business, because we are so, you know, because of the way that the business is run. We want to be part of it on a day-to-day, and you can't be that when you have 10 stores.
You know, you were talking about your relationship and how sometimes you have to balance each other out, and that would be my next question. How does the partnership work? Do you each have separate skills that you bring to the table?
Yeah, we do. We have separate skills, and we know what our
strengths.
We know what our strengths are.
Our weaknesses.
And we know what our weaknesses are. So Alexis will say, this is your wheelhouse. Go do it. I'm on it. I'll say, Alexis, this is your wheelhouse, please.
And we
put
did
that spreadsheet together.
I don't think that we went into it knowing what our roles were going to be, but these things, as we work together, you evolve and you discover what your strengths are, and then you become stronger in that because that becomes sort of your role. But we have a good balance because I think, you know, I certainly couldn't run this business by myself. It takes someone at least who cares as much, but also can do the things that I can't do. And
the trust that we have
absolutely
for each other is insane.
There's no question about any you know, everyone has the best intentions when things get done.
2019 is an interesting time for marketing because there's an entire new generation of people who are really much more online. They're on their phones, and that's how they find out about things that they love. And then you have an older group of women who might still look at a newspaper, read a magazine. What do you do in 2019? How do you find your clientele? How do you tell them about who you are?
Well, we've tried everything. And
we literally do try everything.
We did a radio ad once. We did a couple newspaper ads, and we tried to make them trackable in a way so that we could see the return on them, which isn't an exact science, but for now, I think Instagram is a really great place for people that want to shop online, and it's made it a great place where if you're looking at an ad, you can now click it and buy it, which didn't used to exist on Instagram. And we still use our email database. But it gets really tricky, and it's hard to know what to do and how to manage it too, because then you need someone that can post on Instagram and make sure we're current and we're posting regularly and there's things to see, because that's another job right there.
And following up with people that respond to Instagram. That is very tricky, because sometimes we try never to, let the phone ring more than once, let an email go more than an hour. But now we have Instagram. It's like, did you wait, what? Huh?
I didn't see that. That was from Thursday.
That was yesterday.
We used to talk a lot about balancing work and family until I think as women, we all realized that there really is no such thing as balance, and something always has to give. So my question to you as entrepreneurs and as sisters is, how do you balance these two businesses and your own family lives?
I will say one of the wonderful things about Isabel Harvey is, we work a ton, no question about that. But when Alexis wants to go to Florida, Alexis, go, we'll figure it out. If I want to go to, to the Cape Cod for the month,
not a month.
That's not happening.
Kimberly, you're not going for a month, just so you know. I saw the look on her face.
But for a week, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Just go, so we can cover each other in spades, and we do. So if she has a rehearsal for, the Christmas pageant, just go for the
These
kids.
are things that don't exist.
I thought I saw something in the calendar for Christmas sing-along.
Oh, the sing-along, yes. But no, I think because we've had the business in Wellesley for as long as we have, we are very good at managing it. And if we have to work the weekends, if we have a hole in the schedule, usually we find somewhere else to take it. And we'll make sure that we each get our moments. And, sometimes we work more than we should, but sometimes we take more vacation than most people would. So we just balance it the best we can. And because it is very important.
One of the things that I noticed when I walked into your store was that there was a lot of customer loyalty. While my daughter and I were there shopping, there were a few women who came in who you knew by name, who were obviously loyal customers. And you are also in business in your own hometown. So I'm going to guess that people knew of you and wanted to support you. Is that true?
Certainly. I think, when we opened up, it was definitely, we had a lot of local support, and people like to see people from the town succeeding in the town and doing things for the town. We involve ourselves also in a lot of charities, a lot of local charities. As the high schools and the elementary schools, we do the local free library. We do breast cancer with the Ellie Fund, St. Jude's. We never refuse a donation request, but we also try and go above and beyond and host fundraisers, and make donations and do other things like that. Really,
it's very important part of business. And by the way, we just concluded a month-long special on the Ellie Fund, and we sort of were shining the spotlight on some breast cancer survivors on behalf of the Ellie Fund. What do you wish you knew when you first got started with Isabel Harvey?
I wish I knew that everything can be fixed. If we have a bad experience, we can fix it. We have the muscle to do it in terms of brain power and, just kind of plugging away. That anything that happens, really, we can work around together. We're very strong together. Any event we go to for like a St. Jude's or an Ellie Fund, we always go together, and we always make sure we go together because we're stronger together. If we're just, one woman, it doesn't feel as powerful anymore. But two of us can really, make a statement.
You were both named to the Boston Globe's 25 most stylish Bostonians list. What is your personal style? How do you like to describe it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm one of these people that, of course, I have little kids right now, so I'm like in this comfort mode. So I like things to look sort of sporty but comfortable.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It has to have a flair to it, like a big scarf or maybe a cowboy boot or a big belt, but in the end, it has to be comfortable and you have to be able to wash it in the machine.
And you have to be able to get it on very quickly.
Yes, exactly. So
that is true.
I'm really observing a lot of love between the two of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess my next question has to do with, where does that come from? That loyalty that you have for one another? Is it part of being raised by a single mom? Is it a lesson from your grandmother? Can you talk a little bit about the love you have between the two of you?
I honestly think it's from our mother.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we were little, this rings in my ears constantly. You be nice to your sister. It's the only sister you have. It's
when you get older, you're going to be best friends, And
she used to say that all the time.
Kim and I are 6 years apart, and so when you're 6 and 12, that's a big difference in growing up. But when we got to an age, college age and after, we started seeing each other as peers, and I think that's when our relationship really blossomed, and we became friends. And I remember thinking, oh, she's kind of funny. Like she's this thing. And oh, wow, she's got a funny sense of humor, and
I think I want to hang around with her a little bit more.
And so, we sit at a desk together. It's basically one desk and we face each other. This is every single day. Every single day we do this for 8 hours a day, more or less. And we have fun.
Thank God.
And we laugh
great.
and we have a really wonderful time. And we have a really nice group of people that work at the store. And I'd have to say our bookkeeper, Lori, she sits in the same room with us. She listens to the good and the bad and the ups and the downs. And she is really supportive and really fun and, offers good advice. And, we have a good group of people around us. And I think that makes us, a good team.
Let's say that there's a woman out there who's listening to our show today, who's always had an idea. She's got an idea for a little business and she just hasn't taken that step. What do you say to her? What's your best advice to somebody who's got the idea swirling around in their head, but they haven't put it down on paper yet, which I think is very important.
Well, I think,
oh gosh,
like I always think there's never really a right time to do things. So there's always going to be, you can always find a reason not to do something. So if you can get up the strength, even if you can have someone that will encourage you and say, do it. You should try, like our mom, just try it. Just try it. Kind of what's the worst that could happen, and if that worst case scenario isn't so bad or something you can overcome, just try it. Just try it in a small piece of it, a bite of it. Just try it.
Yeah.
And see how you feel.
Yeah.
Where does the sparkle and shine come from?
Oh boy. That was a marketing lingo from when we were in our office face to face for 8 hours, 9 hours. Oh, you look so sparkly.
Yes. And we start interviewing people and we say, I don't know, she's just not really sparkly enough, or she's really sparkly. We need to hire her. It became this trait that we were chasing. It just was, everybody wants to be sparkly.
Has there ever been a time during your business experience together since 2005, I guess, right? That you felt like throwing in the towel and one of you had to turn around and say, no, we got to keep on going.
We've had some tough moments.
We've had tough
but
moments,
I've never
but
wanted
never.
to throw in the towel.
We've had disagreements in terms of tough moments.
And we've had hard lessons where they were hard to kind of get through and get over. But I never, ever wanted to throw in the towel.
Never considered it.
And then what happens is you kind of go along, you get so knee deep, it's like there's no turning back now anyway. So
what on earth would we do?
And let me say, I feel blessed to have this job that I have with my sister, creating this business. Everyone says, yeah, but you're the boss. Take time off. I said, I'm not the boss. I have 5,000 email customers. All my customers are my boss. They tell me what to do. So
when an obstacle is in your path, how do you get around it?
We talk it out.
We talk a lot about, when there's an obstacle, we talk about it. We get advice. We bounce it off even a third person, usually our mother. We want to make sure that everything that we do has been well thought out. And we want to be considerate and fair. When there is an issue, we want to address it in the best way that we can. We don't shoot from the hip. We sleep on it. We talk about it.
Write it
and
down.
then we address it.
Let's flash forward 10 years from now. What would be your greatest joy and hope for Isabel Harvey?
Gosh, I hope we are, successful 10 years from now. I hope we love it as much as we do now. I hope that we're all healthy and we can still go up and down the stairs and, all that other good stuff. I'm not that old though. God forbid I'm not healthy in 10 years.
Whenever we open or close the store in Nantucket, usually we take the suitcase, we fill these suitcases with product, take it over on the ferry, pretty much, roll the suitcases on, roll them off. And every time we are done with that project, I say, Alexis, I don't know how many more years I have in me. This is exhausting.
And then we'll go to a trade show and we'll see these two little old ladies walking with canes and we're like, oh,
that's us.
People measure success in so many different ways, and they do it in different chapters in their lives. If I'd asked you this question 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you'd probably have a different answer. What does success mean to you right now?
Being able to work with my sister is extremely successful to me, and being able to have that partnership. I have to say, our sales team at Isabel Harvey, I feel so blessed to have every single one of them working side by side. That is success to me for sure. But I'm curious as what.
Well, I think it's really just being happy in what you're doing. I mean, our job is every day, it's every day and it's on the weekends and, and if you don't enjoy it, then why on earth are you doing it? So to me, every time we go to a trade show, again, we've been doing this for 13 years. I get excited. I get happy. When we think of a marketing campaign, I get excited, and I know that we can execute it because we are the boss in that way. And if it's something that we want to do, there's no red tape. So I think enjoying what you do is really important. And I do.
And having you walk into our store, that was very exciting for us. And that was successful. I mean, I felt so flattered and honored to be part of this today. That is success for us, because we're just plugging along here.
You know what, though? The story that you guys shared today with women all around the world about what success means to you and what this journey has been like, and in particular, what it's like to do something special like this with your sister has been a great story for everybody to hear today.